I'm gonna put this chevron here, put this anchor here.
Hey baby, what you doing?
Trying to see if this anchor really outweighs my chevrons.
How'd that work out for you?
Hey everyone, welcome back to E14 Podcast. I'm Jamie Britt.
And I'm Heath Britt.
And together we are
E14.
We match.
Yeah,
I like
do.
it.
I like it. That's good.
All right, let's go ahead and start with our disclaimer because we've got this amazing topic today that I'm so excited to get to. But first, we need to cover our butts.
Cover it.
All right, the views and opinions expressed in the E14 podcast are those of our own and not the United States Navy's or our respective commands.
So take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Don't leave it.
Leave it. You might want to leave it. I don't know. But anyway,
No.
We're so excited because today's topic is ballasting your ship for partners. So the actual title, ballasting your ship, we were thinking is awesome, but
Right.
then we added the subtitle for partners because it goes into marriage, it goes into work, and just creating that life balance.
Yeah, definitely.
Children, whatever you've got going on, hobbies.
Yep.
So we're super excited. But first, we need to go ahead and explain what ballasting is because I never heard about it until
I can do it. I can do it.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I do it? All right,
Yeah,
cool.
go.
Now, ballasting is a pretty simple concept. It's any ship, actually any vehicle. We're nautical though. We're talking vessels. So it's basically a way of keeping your ship stable. So not leaning or listing too far starboard or port left or starboard right, forward or aft, which is the back of the ship. Keep it steady through the water.
Awesome. And then, so the act of ballasting is filling tanks, right?
Right. There's tanks that use seawater because they're always on seawater. So it's there, it's accessible, easy. And then they move it around throughout the ship.
So you can fill the tanks by filling, you can level the ship by filling the tanks.
Correct.
Left or right, or front or back.
Right. Perfect.
Awesome.
100%.
So that's where we came with the concept for today's topic.
Yes.
And actually, a lot of people think that a balanced relationship is always 50-50 in everything.
Yeah, you would think that. That's math, right? So everybody does half.
Right.
Or a quarter.
When you think about us as the E14 podcast, technically you are carrying 8 of the 14 and I'm only carrying 6. So it's not an even 50-50
That's
split.
okay.
Right.
Because without the 6, I'm not a 14. I'm just an 8.
Just an 8.
I'm just an 8. So we're complete because you're carrying 6, I'm carrying 8, what makes us 100%. E14.
What I think is so important here that we don't think about often enough is that it's about bringing what you can bring to the table.
Right.
And even in this instance, for example, when we talk about E14, we're talking about our pay grades. Mm-hmm. So obviously an E8 brings more than an E6 to the table in terms of money. But there are other times where I far outweigh you.
Right. Like the show. Let's take the show for instance. We'll talk about this. I just show up 80% of the time. I just show up. She does. We'll talk about the topics together, bounce ideas. But as far as the technical stuff, she's all over it because she has a lot more experience than me with this stuff, and she gives, I would say 80%. I probably give 20%. I'm just being honest.
But you're good to show up and drink, bring your
I'm
cigar,
good with that.
light the
That's easy.
smoking
I
lamp. I
light it.
mean,
I
you're
I do like the smoking lamp too. So I'd say I do 25%.
yeah. I mean, you do a lot for the show
Yeah,
actually, and then just to be here to converse with
yeah,
is half the show.
that's
So
true.
you are bringing what you bring to the table, and without you, I would only be a six.
Can I coin a phrase?
What's that?
Bring 100% of what you can bring.
I love that.
As long as you bring 100% what you can bring, then you're doing your part.
And honestly, there's so many instances where we go back and forth in our marriage
Right.
where you outweigh me. And like the kids, when I came on to recruiting, I am a recruiter, by the way. I don't know if we've told that, but recruiting has long hours.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty intense
It
as
is.
far as I don't just shut off my phone when I walk through the door.
No.
A lot of times I'm walking through the door at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night,
Mm-hmm.
still on the phone, still texting
Or
people.
pulling in that daggum garage and like, why is she in yet? Oh,
Yeah,
she's on the
sitting there on
phone.
the
Yeah.
phone. And it takes a great sacrifice,
It
but
does.
also you fixing dinner,
Yeah.
getting the kids get done with their homework.
Yeah.
And, at that point, you're bringing more to the home front than I am. Um, you know,
Yeah, but for those few months when we moved here, and you didn't have a job yet, you were
mhm,
looking for a civilian job at the time before you went back on active duty.
yeah.
Um, you were doing all that.
Yeah. And actually, I left my civilian job so that we can move here for
You
you
did
on
a
your
good job,
active duty
a really
orders.
good job. A lot less stress than you're dealing with now.
So I think that when we think about balance,
Hmm.
we think in our minds we think it's an even split, but it's not an even split. Like you said, it could be that you're listing left or right or forward or back,
Right.
and then it depends on how much water is in those tanks
Thanks. Right.
to balance it all out.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. And it goes the same at work
Right.
because,
Oh yeah.
a lot of times you get frustrated. I get frustrated when you see that coworker that's not working as hard as you, and,
Hmm.
and we think, oh, well, I'm staying until 7 o'clock at night. Why aren't you staying until 7 o'clock at
Right.
night? But it's the same thing. They bring what they bring to the table.
Right.
And as long as everyone is bringing 100% to the table,
Right. Take care of your piece of the pie.
right.
Yeah.
You pull your own weight.
Hmm.
And whatever weight that may be,
Right.
however heavy it may be, is what you're pulling.
And that whole working till 7 o'clock or
Hmm.
whatever, everybody has their own season.
Right.
Everything comes in the season. Like I might be working till 7 o'clock or whatever. I don't really work till 7 o'clock. I might be working till 5 o'clock uh, one week, and then my buddy in a different department is his turn.
Hmm.
So, and I'll be leaving at 4, 3:30, 4 o'clock. He could be working till 5, 6 o'clock. He comes in seasons,
Hmm.
so you can't judge somebody by a week of work or a month of work.
And I
Everybody.
don't know why we get that in our head. Like, I'm doing this, so you should be doing that, because that's not a team.
No, definitely
When
not.
you think about maybe like a soccer team or a basketball team, you've got your defensive players, you've got your offensive players, you've got everybody that plays their
Hmm.
position. And that position is important to win the game.
Well, 100%. Now, what if you're playing a team that defense is not that good? So offense is always on the field. The offense is
Hmm.
going to work harder that game.
Right.
Doesn't mean the defense is lazy. It's just that game.
Hmm. That's so true. And that's the focus of a team at work is
Exactly.
to everyone play their position and do it to 100% of what you can do.
100%.
And then that's how we win.
Exactly.
Connected.
And keep your feelings at the door.
Yeah. What do you mean by that?
Well,
Keep it.
if you're starting to feel a certain way because you're the one working till 7, just put that aside. Just
Yeah.
focus on what you can do.
Same in the marriage too.
Exactly.
I know there's times when you get frustrated because I'm still not home or I'm still not helping as far as like folding clothes or cooking dinner or whatever. And it is hard to be the one that's picking up the slack in that moment.
Sometimes, but I've been through it. I've
Hmm.
been, I've had those jobs where I'm working till 10, 11 o'clock at night. I've been there. And
Right.
I know if the shoes were on the other feet, that I would hope you would do the same thing. And that's why I do what I do, because I never know when you might be doing the same thing that I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I'd hate for you to feel awful, or that'd make me feel bad if you got upset. So I don't do that.
But I think that's the ultimate balance as far
Yeah.
as teamwork goes, is
Hmm.
that teammate, whether it's in the marriage, whether it's at work or on a sports team or
Hmm.
whatever you're going through, that teammate recognizing in the moment that shortfall
Right.
where they need to gun it, where they
Hmm.
need to get it and pick it up
Right.
and go.
Right.
And that is, I was reading a book one time, and it was talking about, how the Navy SEALs, when they're going through buds, they have that log training,
Right.
and so you've got, I don't know, I'm not a SEAL, but maybe like 5 or 6 guys on a log, right? And so the purpose of this is to get those guys working as a team. And they're they said the most successful teams are not talking at all.
Right.
The conversation is happening through the log.
Exactly.
So that teammate that's next to you feels your arms give out and they adjust
To
to carry the weight.
take up your slack that you're,
Right.
whatever you're
But the
weak on.
conversation is not verbally happening.
They just
And
know.
a lot of times in our marriage, that conversation is not verbally happening. I don't know when I'm going to be late for work. Things arise and you just got to take care of them. Same for you. And that conversation doesn't always verbally
Mm-mm.
happen. Sometimes it does, but it's not a verbal
No,
communication when
it's.
you're working together as a team.
I have a system.
What's that?
So if it's 5:30, you're not home yet, I
Mm-hmm.
go ahead and kids eat, because he might not be eating until 8 if you wait. It is. I know. I just know. I know the
Right,
trends. I pay
right.
attention to trends. So it's at first it was harder because I wasn't sure, but now after what, almost 2 years, 2 years of doing this, over 2 years now,
Mm-hmm.
that I got it down pat.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to figure out now. I know your pattern. So
And
you're a soft target.
actually, no, I'm not, because we never know when I'm getting
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
home.
That's true.
We never know. So if you're not in the military, a hard target would be like you never have a schedule. You just come and go at different times. That's a hard target. But a soft target would be like if you leave the house every day at 7:30 and you get home every day at 4, then we know exactly where you'll be at those times. That makes you a soft
And we're
target.
talking about target to like terrorist,
Predators
or
or,
even anybody,
yeah, I don't know.
bad
Just,
person, any
yeah.
bad person that's gunning for you.
Adversary.
Adversary. I'm
There
sorry.
we go. Adversary.
Adversary. That's
Yeah.
that's
We're not
scoping you out.
professionals.
No,
We're
we're not.
country
But
bumpkins.
terrorist is not a bad word.
No, no, I'm just
Yeah.
saying adversary is the
Right.
proper term.
Adversaries.
Yeah.
So if you're changing up your routine, then it's harder to figure you out.
Yeah.
Makes you a
But
hard target.
But like going back to that Navy SEAL log drill, it's just it's your teammates, and you think about it, and your best coworkers, your best shops, your best places that you have worked, your team worked that way.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't always a verbal communication. Maybe there was. Maybe you're like, "Hey, I got this going on at home. I'm struggling," and that team, it's like a little light flicks on,
Yeah.
and they're like, I got it.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of that, because recently we've expressed this and we've told everyone, we've been going through a hard time,
Yeah.
family stuff,
Nothing between me and you.
no,
Just
no,
all
just to
around.
clarify, it's
No.
nothing in this home, but part of our family, we've been going through a hard time, right? I didn't say anything except for I came into work and I wasn't myself. And
Yeah.
guess what my coworker did?
What's that?
Bought me lunch because I
See.
wasn't eating. I was, just not myself, whatever.
Hmm.
Wasn't thinking about eating. Went a day without eating. The next day, I had a salad on my
Wow,
desk
that's awesome.
because without telling details, without saying what's going on, they sensed there was a lag there
Hmm.
and they picked up the slack.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And that's what naval service provides. And I'm sure civilian wise,
Yeah.
if you've got a really great tight knit team, um, that kind of
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah. Definitely.
But you'll notice that it almost becomes like you feel it
Exactly.
and then you
Su-
pick up the slack.
Subliminal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we do need to go over taking on too much
Yes.
water. So we talked
Before
about
we get too
balancing.
far, I want to
What's
just notice the cigar there. Can I put a
oh
point out? That is a CAO Americana. So
Americana?
I don't know America. I
So
apologize.
for the for, no for those that are just listening in,
Yeah,
describe it.
yeah. So it's CAO is a great company. This is part of their around the world cigars. They have Italian, they have Brazilian, but this is the America really good cigar. If you're into CAOs, I recommend it. They're not sponsoring me or nothing or anything like that. I
Maybe
just
one day.
maybe
No,
one day
hint, hint.
yeah.
Ha!
CEO, if you're listening, I got you back. Anyway, the great cigar. It's got the red, white, and blue wrapper on it. Really cool wrapper. It's the Barber Pole cigar. So I'll put that away now.
Yeah,
Can you put that back?
sure.
And the smoking lamp is lighted. So if you haven't smoked them, I can't smoke in my house. So
Smoke them if you got them.
I can't smoke in my house. Just saying.
No,
So,
not at all.
let's start with the top. Let's start about what you want to talk about now. Well,
Oh, I was saying deballasting.
deballasting.
No, the only reason I was saying that is because we talked about balancing your ship by
Mhm.
filling the tanks, filling them up with water,
Seawater. Yeah.
but you can have them too full, and there's
Yes.
twofold for two
Right. Definitely.
reasons. And this kind of made me think about taking on too much water,
Hmm.
as far as taking on too much responsibility. So
Yes.
talking about getting off at late at night, at 8 o'clock at night, and all of
Yeah.
that. Sometimes it's self-inflicted and not just the job.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's I'll take that and I'll take this and I'll take that, and then all of a sudden the time with the family goes down, the teamwork, I'm snippy,
Right. Snippy.
at work because I've got so much on my plate, so there's
Passive aggressiveness.
oh, just put all our business out on the
I'm
streets.
just joking, but that does that's a thing.
No, but it is, and it's usually because we feel like we have to keep taking
Yeah,
on to balance the system. But guess what? The balance is the balance. If you take on too much water, you list the other way.
it's true.
You lean the other way.
Hmm.
So you do have to deballast
Got to debalance.
sometimes. And like you said, there's two different times that you would need to
Hmm.
do it. The first one being to accomplish the mission.
Right.
Like, what's your example of that?
I know we'll get into the Navy again, but there's a ship that's most of its operations are done in what they call the well deck. They have smaller water vessels in the well deck of a amphibious ship
Hmm.
that they have to launch.
So the well deck is like a big hangar or a big open area. If you can kind of imagine what we're talking about.
Right. So it would be like if you so you've seen them it would be you see the movies where you see a motorcycle do a jump into a back of a helicopter and they open that big door and they jump in. Kind of the same thing. So there's no jumping, but there's a big door that opens at the bottom of the ship, water level. The smaller vessels go inside the ship
They
through
just
that
drive on in there.
right through that door, which is called a stern gate because it's through the back of the ship, the stern.
Hmm.
So to accomplish that mission, you actually have to deballast. You actually almost have to sink the ship a little bit to get water in the well deck so the vessels can enter the through the stern gate.
Sometimes I guess you might have to do that with like a truck, like that's too high. You might have to sink that back end a little bit to like put a trailer on there or a boat. Or I don't know if trucks like hydraulic wise sink it down. I think they do.
Well,
Like,
I
but
know tow trucks do
yeah,
to lower the
to
chain so they can
exactly.
hook onto the down vehicle.
So I don't know. I'm just kind of talking out my butt at that point. But I've seen like 18 wheelers do it.
Yeah.
I've seen tow trucks do it. So like just lowering that back
Hmm.
end so that that other vessel can come on board,
Right.
whatever it may be, a car.
You're actually flooding the well deck. They call it flooding the well deck. You're flooding
Yeah,
part of the ship to complete the mission, which is it's crazy. Why would I flood my ship? Well, sometimes you have to. You got to deballast.
yeah. I guess in real life aspects, just to complete the mission, you have to deballast. Like,
Right.
at work, one time I had to say no.
Right. Definitely.
Saying no
Yeah.
is not my strong suit.
No, mine neither.
But sometimes you have to say no so that you can complete what you got on your plate at that moment,
Hmm.
you know? And if you were to take on more water and to keep taking on more water, then that very important task that you have on your plate at the moment would not be
No,
completed.
no.
So it's important to know when you've had too much water and to say no and take some stuff off of your plate. Let
Hmm.
some water out if you need to.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, just to get that mission
Get the mission
accomplished
accomplished.
and to do a good job with it. And then the second kind of deballasting is what our subs do.
Emergency.
Yeah. So our subs kind of do
It's called an
an emergency blow.
emergency blow. Yeah.
Yeah, so if maybe there was a medical emergency on board
Or
or
engine problems could be anything.
yeah, engine problems, adversary. I don't know why you would want to get out of the water if you had
Here's the deal:
adversaries.
you don't want to have engine problems 100 feet underwater, 300 feet underwater.
Yeah, I can't
No,
imagine.
you don't want to do that.
So that's a process of deballasting. That's a process of getting out and then shooting up to the tops
So
of top side so they
it is
can.
crazy. If you've ever seen it, Google it. It's an awesome site to watch it. I mean, if you can find a video, do it. It's pretty awesome.
And that just draws me back to real life scenarios when we were going through that storm. Like, let's say you're happily taking on more water and taking on more water, and everything's going great, and then something happens at home or something happens at work, and that takes the majority of your focus
Hmm.
away from what's there. You've got to like, hey, can you take this?
Yeah.
Can you help
Yeah,
me do
definitely.
PT? Can you
Yep.
help me do this? Can you help me do you?
Right.
And then that's an emergency blow, like getting everything off of your plate so that you can shift your focus somewhere else.
Or it can be something as simple as, hey, I've been working hard these last 2 weeks. It's harder these days with COVID, but
Right.
can we put in leave and go on a vacation somewhere, or just
Yeah, that
anywhere? It's away from work, away from your everyday monotony.
so leave is our vacation time, but sometimes you can feel it when you need it.
Yes.
And work can start, it's almost like your blinders start closing in,
Hmm.
and then you're starting to like feel like this is almost too much, or like all of work starts surrounding you and you're like, ah,
Definitely.
deballast.
Oh yeah.
I need to go
Oh
on
yeah.
vacation.
It's kind of like if you're working on a crossword puzzle and you can't figure out that word, you put it down and come back tomorrow, and it's right there in front of your face. Just your blinders come out. You go from here to here.
Yeah.
You see through your peripherals again, and you can carry on. It does a lot. It's like taking vacation for a week.
For with fitness
Oh
especially,
yeah.
a lot of times, especially when we're trying to lose weight or we're trying to get, like, I don't know, some just big, huge goal going on, that we feel like we need to work out 2 times a day for 7 days a week, and we don't allow our body to recover.
Got to recover.
And we're not stronger for it.
Mm-mm.
We just continue to weaken, weaken, weaken. And that's the same thing with work, with marriage, with
Hmm.
your relationships. It's just, if you continue to press on, put your head down and press on,
Yeah.
like we military members are so famous for doing. You just continue to get weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker, and then it just creates this tension and
Oh
this stress that you just don't need, and that's the purpose of
yeah.
an emergency blow or deballasting.
You got to. You have to. It helps to put your life back in focus, professional, personal life back in focus. Get back on track
So,
after busting your tail for a long time.
do you have a story about maybe one time when you were feeling that way at work or home or?
Oh, oh, definitely. When I was in Japan, I was working, like I said, we about 10, 11 o'clock at night. I remember
Mhm.
4 months straight. And it's not because I was made, that was my own doing this. Nobody told me how to do this. I think I went 4 months without taking a day off. And when I mean not taking a day off, I mean weekends too.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, 2 of those months were out to sea. So I
Mhm.
really didn't have anywhere to go. But the last 2 months, I was working a lot of hours. I mean, walking home because I didn't drive in Japan, walking back to my apartment in the dark because I worked late. And then after that after that inspection was over with,
Mhm.
I took leave, uh, and that was the best feel. I came back and I felt like I felt like I.
Superman,
Oh,
like
I tell you what, I felt like I've been off for 2 years.
recharge
It
your
was it was
batteries.
awesome. But I remember being down. I remember the first night I slept, and I was still in Japan. I didn't take a leave. I slept from 8 o'clock that night till 10 o'clock the next morning.
Oh my
And that's not me.
gosh.
You know, I don't sleep in.
No.
That's how I had. I missed like 4 phone calls. Didn't even hear it.
Wow.
I remember that. That was well needed
Yeah. You know,
vacation.
we forget we're human.
Yeah,
We think that it's kind of like your car.
yeah.
How long is that car going to run without an oil change, without rotating your tires or changing out your
Mhm.
tires? And we are quick to put gas in our car. We're
Keep it
quick
going. Go,
to
go, go,
like,
go.
yeah, we're quick to like, change the oil and all of those preventative maintenance
hmm
things for our car, but for ourselves,
hmm
we're so lazy about all that stuff, like taking a day off here or there,
Yeah.
or taking some time to just recharge, on the weekend
hmm
without having to answer your phone. Whatever it is, I don't know why we think our bodies are any different than our vehicles, but you know, they're not.
No, you gotta take care of your body.
You have to recharge.
You gotta eat right, recharge, work, exercise. Just
Yeah.
treat your body like you do your car. Well, now some most people can treat their car.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the type that doesn't get your oil changed, well
Yeah,
then,
yeah. Do the opposite of that with your body. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's just so important for our marriage too. There's times
Yep.
where we have to just take a time, and
hmm
with talking about busy schedules, where we
Uh,
just have to take some time and recharge.
but this is the way that we reach. This is the way.
So
This
this
is actually.
podcast is actually a way that we have figured out how to have date nights.
Yep.
We've figured out how to recharge, and spend time together because we just have so much fun
Yeah, I love it.
bringing our advice and
Yeah.
experiences to you. And hopefully, you all enjoy it as well.
Hope so. Hope so. 'Cause we enjoy
And
doing it.
we would just love for y'all to share those experiences with us and to give us advice. You can email us at e14podcast@gmail.com. We've actually created a group, so make sure and like
Yep.
our Facebook page. But we've created a group where we have this forum
Right.
that we can offer these advice. And actually, we posted our topic for next week in there
hmm
so that you can go on there and offer your advice, your stories. We'll share it on the podcast.
Yep.
We want our listeners and our viewers to be a part of this podcast as much as we are a part of it.
Right.
And eventually you and I are going to run out of sea stories. We're going to run out of nautical terms, but as a Navy, as military members, just even civilians, those that are listening, we all have stories
Yes. Yes.
that overcome, that are positive, that someone can learn from,
Mhm.
and that's what we want to bring
And
here.
please, we especially the civilians out there, we talk a lot about the military. That's what we know.
It
But
is who we are. It's our almost our identity, I guess.
but if you civilians have something you want to share, we will more than happily just put that on the show too.
I
And I
mean,
will.
yeah, I can dual hat it because I
Yeah,
was
she wasn't.
civilian for so long and so many years, and I of course a lot of what we talk about has very nautical terms, and if you need us to explain those more, we definitely will.
Love to.
But we just want you to know from a sailor's perspective
Right.
how we deal with different events in life and that sort of stuff. So again, please like our Facebook. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Cast, all of those different
Everywhere,
platforms,
worldwide.
Instagram. And you can usually find us at E-114 podcast or just E14 podcast if they don't allow it. And we just appreciate y'all joining us,
Oh, thank y'all so much.
listening, viewing, whatever platform
hmm
you are on. And please share with a friend. And as always, we hope that you have a great week and have fair winds.
And following seas.